As you can see, I've made many different builds and many different biomes, and in today's episode, I think that we're going to walk around some of my favorite builds from the year. We'll go into all of the details with some nice music in the background and explain exactly what I like about my favorite builds in multiple different worlds. If you like any of the designs that you see in any of the places around you, you're more than welcome to take from the builds, but the only thing that I ask from you is that you leave a like on the video. Now, once again, we're going in no particular order, but one of my favorite builds that I've made over this past year is this cottage that we have here that we call the Jeffrey's House. It's made of a texture palette of smooth quartz and iron blocks, along with diorite that leads up to terracotta and jungle wood, and then up to spruce wood and bricks and granite. You will see in most of the buildings around this area that they all share the same theme, which is one of my favorite things about this kingdom, which we affectionately call Lhasa. But as you can see on the sign right here, we called this place the Jeffrey's House, and the Jeffreys is a small family that owns one of my favorite builds over in this direction over here. The Jeffrey's Tavern, but you can see that we went with end rods right here, and then lots of pots and barrels leading into the interior. And then another cool thing about this build is that I decided to use cherry saplings to line the awning of the roof sides. And then up here, you can see that I did the same with dark oak saplings, which is definitely a theme that we have coming around in the kingdom. We can head inside the copper trapdoor, where we'll be met with a kind of steampunk sort of interior where we have an eating place and you can hear some bubbling and even more end rods for lighting on the ceiling. We have a couple of nice paintings on the walls and a couple of places where we have item frames as well, and we also happen to have a second floor where we have a little bedroom right here and some more paintings and pots with flowers in them, and we also have a book, which is a very important book for me. This is our first ever comment of the day book, and we're on book 3 now in this world, which is something that's really great. And as you can see, we started it on the 12th of July, and we've been keeping it going here on the second channel. You're more than welcome to take a look at any of those videos here on the channel. But for the floor, we have a really cool design where we have basalt all facing up, and then we also have polished or chiseled tuff, and they go really well together, but it was a total pain making sure that each one of these blocks was facing straight up. But it's a very cozy and quaint exterior and a very congested interior, which is one of my favorite things that I like about it. And my second favorite build design that we have from 2024 is this lantern design that I came up with myself. And all of the copper variants had just come out in the game, and so I decided to go with oxidized or weathered copper trapdoors, and then lightning rods with some iron bars, and then stone brick walls, stone bricks, more of the copper trapdoors, and then the lanterns right here. And it looks really cool. It's a very unique steampunk sort of design. I just wanted to show you guys this on cinematic real quick. Yeah, very cool looking in my personal opinion. So I'm very happy with it. But as the sun starts to set, we'll actually go and take a look at one of my favorite little builds that we have across the water, across the pond over here. You can see that this whole area is just incredible. It's definitely the favorite place that I've built out of anything the entire year. This is the Kingdom of Lhasa, and yeah, it's just beautiful. But over here across the water, we have a little cemetery with a lot of the people that are very important to be in this world. Once again, we went with some end rods for the lighting source, and then we have grindstones right here with weathered copper trapdoors, and then you can see, I'll show you in the next day, but we have a bunch of really important names for people in this area too. And there we go. We now have a new day, but you can kind of see that we have the sanctuary graveyard sign right there. And then all of these little signs are people that have been really awesome supporters in my little community, or our little community that we have right here. people such as Golden Recluse, and we have Etat right here, and who else? We got Break the Net as well, Inca Raids, and we also have, I think, a couple of more people. We have Indiana Animates as well. I do think that just for the aesthetic effect, I wanted to keep some of them blank, just to show that like not everyone has died here in this beautiful area that we have. And as with everything, it's decorated with diagonal lines of lilacs and rose bushes, which just really fills in the entire area and makes everything look so beautiful, I think. Now, my fourth favorite build of this year is Shohei Sweet Treats, which is this awesome building that we have up here. You can see that we've arrived at the right place based on the sign, and once again, we have the same sort of accents with the iron blocks and the smooth quartz and the diorite that leads up to the tuff and the jungle wood and then the spruce. And once again, we can open up the copper trapdoor to a really cool looking interior. In here, I ended up using decorated pots to kind of break up the area a little bit. And then we also have some glistening black stone or whatever it's called right here every once in a while. And then some white terracotta, I believe. Very accented design with some lanterns and some pots over here. And that is very on par with how I like to build, I would say. And then for the first time, I used smooth quartz for the stairs here on the interior, and it's really beautiful. We actually happened to transition our palette into bricks and some red and orange terracotta on the second floor, and we have some chiseled bookshelves right here, some storage with barrels and some banners and item frames and paintings and a lectern and some very beautiful views actually out to the graveyard right here, if you can see that. So overall, it's not really an interior of a bakery because I'm just not that good at interiors, but I'm very happy with how it came out. And we actually have another little flower pot room right here where we can jump on down into a water pool, and we have more of that black stone, which looks really beautiful, and then some coal and some stone and cobblestone, and a nice little interior or storage area down in the basement, where I don't think we happen to have anything in here, but we definitely could if we wanted to. And we also have a little water elevator too. So if we ever wanted to use this area for storage, we could, but I just think that I'm really running out of space when it comes to storage. And by that, you can look at all of the shulkers that we have that are really taking away from from the aesthetic that we have here in the Kingdom of Lhasa. But yeah, Shohei Sweet Treats is definitely one of my favorite builds as well for number 4. I really do love this Stutter House. It's always going to have a soft spot in my heart for build number 5 right here. My favorite thing about it is that we have these arches, of course, the same sort of design or block palette that we have with the copper trapdoors and the diorite, iron blocks, smooth quartz, all of the different things. But this looks like it's partly an interior, but it actually doesn't connect up here. But I made sure to have the arches on this side of the build lead through and kind of lead you into the front of the kingdom over by the lake, which is by far my favorite thing about it. And right over here, you can see we actually can step on some pressure plates, which is a design of my own. This took me like 2 hours to figure out how to just make this guy light up. But this is our mailbox because this is all taking place on the Lotus SMP, which is a multiplayer server that is a bunch of content creators that I'm very lucky to be able to take a part with. But as we can see on the sign right here, we have Slip's house and my first ever pair of diamond boots right there. And we have 3 or 4 floors, actually, this right here. We have a really cool little interior right here with all of my most important items in the game. And then one of my favorite YouTubers, Yogi Man, who's also on Lotus, he's over there as well. We have custom item frames. This is all SMP lore related. You're more than welcome to take a look at my main channel and see the playthrough for it. But the stonecutter isn't supposed to be here. We have some of our first ever axes and just kind of weapons over here on the wall. And then this music player used to play one of my favorite songs with one of the content creators that used to be on the SMP named Spidey. But over here we can open up to the door, and I love this interior, but I'm worried that there's going to be a billion chickens in here. And that's because of other people messing around on the server as well. But this is our Stutter House with our first ever interior right here. You can see in the next build after this, actually, that things got a lot better with my interior game. But for the first time, I ended up using armor stands, and once again, some of our first ever diamond tools. I really haven't been using mending so that I can kind of put them up on the walls here, which has been very fun, and some extra storage up top right here. But we can actually go up another floor once again where there could be a whole ton of chickens. And yes, there are. This is supposed to be my bedroom, where we have another armor stand, and it's nice and congested right here with some carpets on the floor and my bed, but I never go in here. And partially all of these chickens and getting the eggs from them is part of the reason, but we can actually head up to the top floor of this base as well and put down that trap door where we get a wonderful look at pretty much everything that we've been able to build here. So this build took me a long time. I made it in a creative world beforehand, and it's always gonna have a special spot in my heart. And we actually have another build that's not mine, but I wish that it was. So yes, a very special build in my heart. There's something humbling about the fact that you've made it to this point in the video. If you're new here, consider subscribing, because I'm not going anywhere, and I'm sure things are going to get better over time. But one of my favorite builds here that is connected to the main build is this mini pond that we have in the entranceway. I think that I'll let this beautiful sun set into the distance, and we'll take a look at it in the morning. Now I say that we can jump on in, and this mini pond is really nothing special, but for whatever reason, me doing this when making the starter area and having the arch that kind of goes into the land and leads up in this direction towards the mountain, this thing right here, I'm just so proud of, and it is the perfect thing for this area as we lead on off to the ocean side. And if I'm being honest, my favorite thing about it is my good buddy Cobb ended up coming by, and he dropped off some mob figures of the two of us with his arm on my shoulder, and we're just having a good time chit-chatting by the lake here. And so, yeah, just really well done. We have stones and stone bricks with some mossy and even some leaves in there too. Everything slab wise, slabs for everything in here, and then another one of those lanterns right there. And then yeah, it just kind of is the perfect little thing to curve the path over in this direction. But we can continue down along the path here to by far my favorite build that I've made this year. This build right here, as we had briefly discussed, is the Jeffrey's Tavern, where we once again have the same block palette as we have had in the rest of the builds in the kingdom, but this one, the interior in particular as well, just totally shines. It's my best build of the year. I really just think that I did a great job with keeping things just sleek around the interior, and once again, very creative using the end rods as a light source here, and then we have the carrots kind of just smoothly bringing us into the area of the Jeffrey's Tavern with the rest of our plants here, the rest of our two tall flowers. also doing the same. And it goes right upon a nice mushroom tree right there, which is something that I'm a fan of. And we have a storage crane right there that is taking down some materials as well. Some propaganda for other SMP related things. And one thing that I've been doing a lot in this kingdom is kind of just all over having item frames with quartz on it. Just because I think it's a pretty thing to have. And you can kind of see up there that we did the same thing, but by far, although I hear a zombie, which I'm not surprised about, maybe we just head inside to my favorite interior for the tavern right here. This thing is absolutely incredible. We have our brewing area right there. We have a nice table, a nice little bar area, and it actually sounds really cool as you walk on these blocks right here, once again with the basalt and then another tough block variant. We have tough and some extra mud in a beat-up style mud brick right there for the texture on the counter with vegetarian-only food, as you can see at this tavern. There's definitely a zombie around here somewhere. But we have our washing area right here, some more end rods as a light source, and just lots of paintings scattered around with another heating area over here and tripwire hooks on the walls to kind of be like keg openers or taps, I guess is the better word for it. And then up on the second floor, right here, we have more of like a formal mom and pop sort of shop where we have another bar area where you can get all of the vegetarian goods once again and all of the item frames with more diamond tools and paintings and a nice really big table here, which is actually a design that I got off of Pinterest, and it's a little big for the area, but it's really cool, and I like having it in here as well. One of my favorite things about this is we can head on off to the balcony, and we have Cobb right here, once again, who happens to be a worker at the Jeffrey's Tavern, and he is unloading some of our inventory, and he's gonna put it into the attic from this crane that's loading it up over here. And yeah, everything about this area was really just hyper detailed. And I did this interior actually in creative mode and allowed myself to work with it, I believe. So this build took me a very long time to make. One other thing that's really cool is that I started using copper grates right here. And then we actually have copper trapdoors, which you can't really see, but they're on the outside right there, and they let in the light at the night during the night, which is a beautiful thing for the tavern. A great ambiance in here at night in particular. But we have our little attic where you have to crouch on down in order to get inside, where we have all the inventory that the Jeffries family would need, and just nice and cozy and quaint in here. Nothing super special, but I think that it really does fit the vibe of a mom and pop tavern here. Now, coming up with number 8 on the list, we have this incredible diagonal bridge that I led going into a waterfall down here. I made this bridge just off the whim, and it was my first diagonal build that I've ever done as well, and I'm just really happy with how it came out. You can see that the bridge just lets the water fall into the cliffside, and you can fly through it with an elytra as well, and it's just very fun to do. But you can see that I love to do a mosaic texture pattern with just blocks spread in kind of random noisy gradients, and stone bricks, especially with mossy, is one of my favorite ways to do it. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the inner pathway here. It's decorated, as you can see, with decorated pots, and then we have some iron bars and some spruce trapdoors here that outlines either side. And it's cool. It gets the job done, and very pretty just surrounding views with the mountains and a wonderful way to lead into the kingdom, which happens to be down over here on the left. But I do really think that the thing that shines about this build is the side that it gets from looking over there, and the fact that just wonderfully flows down here. Now, number 9 on my favorite builds that I've made this year is the Lotus Hotel, where I really do think that I cooked with so many different blocks. We have acacia and tuff and moss and green glazed terracotta and andesite and smooth stone bricks and just all of the different things. Blue terracotta in there as well. I really love the extra texturing that we have with levers, and then we also have chains that kind of outline both of the corners right here. And then on the bottom of every single one of these windows, we also have a warped wood trapdoor, which just adds a little bit of extra blue to the build as well, which I'm a huge fan of. I spent lots of diamonds at one of our S&P's shops in order to get tons of different flowers to really kind of just bring this build out of the world. And then on the inner layer right here, we have some pretty big wheat fields with some hay bales, just to texture up the field a bit. But we can head inside, and it has many different floors in this build, and for all of them, I have different mob figures from our SMP. Right here, we have Mafert, who is kind of holding a weapon behind him as a bodyguard, and then we have myself welcoming people to the hotel. We have barrels, as always, with plants in them, and more barrels and bookshelves over here. It looks like someone has dropped off a mini pink sheep, a Margaret plushie, which once again goes along with the lore. On the second floor, we have Draconis right here, and we have the actual pug, and looks like now we have Mild Maddie. I haven't seen that one yet. But once again, lots of paintings and kind of just like a futuristic steampunk sort of vibe. We have a little bit more of a cozy TV area right here, where we have Banana Boy watching some Real Housewives as the story goes. And it's really fun as we get to the higher floors, just knowing that I did all of this myself. We of course, have a mini me once again, and a little camp for furnace area right there. And then we can head up, I think, one more time right here, to the top floor, which is our penthouse area. Although it's not super decorated, it is really nice and pretty, and you can get some pretty awesome views as well, looking out over the ocean. So I'm very happy with this build, and it honestly came together. I built it a lot faster than I thought I would be able to. And lastly, for number 10 on the list right here, we have my most recent project, and man, was this one a doozy, our awesome Winter Kingdom build, where we have a medieval church right here, but really spruced up with tons of different oxidized blue blocks. And I don't know if we could call it medieval, but it's definitely a church. And I love how it looks with the tuff and the blackstone that we have to make the roof dark, and then the weathered copper and prismarine that we have in the roof, leading down to some more or less weathered copper down here on the pillars. And we have mangrove trapdoors and mangrove hanging signs as some extra balcony decoration, leading into some blue banners right here, just to add some extra blue to the build. And then on the inner layer right here, we have a bunch of different sandstone variants, and then some birch logs and strip birch logs and birch planks right here for some brown whites, which is all of this is just a massive doozy for me. The blocks that I used in this build are incredible. Right here on the inside, we have crimson signs and then purple stairs that leads on into our church area right here, with levers and jungle trapdoors on the walls, and then bamboo trapdoors as an outer lining, more prismarine and warped wood right here. And then this is all lapis. All of the yellow that we have right up here is gold blocks, which is absolutely wild. This, oh my gosh, as the sun goes through the church it's orange windows right there. I haven't been in here at this time. Look how perfect that is as the shadow comes up. I am astounded. Yeah, so this build is absolutely insane. We have some lecterns and some smooth quartz right here. Oh gosh, I'm so glad that I saved this one for last here. Oh man. We have acacia doors right here, and then lots of paintings up on the sides. And then over here, we have lots of candles leading up to where the choir would sing. And we have our pastor right here. We have, once again, Cobb right there. He does a lot around the server, you could say. And then we have iron bars right here that lead down into chains and then lanterns. And we can continue to see that design down here, along with blue windows, which is something I've never really used before. Just standing back, you can really tell that this is meant to be a church right here. And it's honestly a really incredible build as well in this fantastic Christmas area. And so we'll have to see what happens in 2025. Of course, I got big things in mind, but we've done a whole lot, and I wanted to share it all with you. If you have enjoyed seeing some of my builds, maybe you got some inspiration, maybe you want to take one of these builds, you're more than welcome to do it. Once again, just consider leaving a like on this video. And if you are new here, you like my vibe, you like me, consider subscribing. I hope you have a good day.